Hello, I am back and I am sleeved. Just wanted to do a video as promised, detailing my experience in Mexico. Excuse the glare on my glasses, it's the light. I'll try to hold my head straight so that you don't get all of that on it. But I was sleeved on November 25th, 2015 in Tijuana, Mexico by Dr. Francisco Zavalza. Um, and this is not really an update video, so I won't give like stats and all that stuff. I'm just giving my experience. So I'll just jump right in. I did get sleeved on a Wednesday, and I traveled to Tijuana on the day that I got my surgery done. So I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and so I left my house probably, I think, like 4:30 in the morning, and went to the airport. We had a 6:15 a.m. flight. We had a layover in Houston, and we got to San Diego at about maybe 10:15-ish local time. But that had been like a 7-hour day for us already. And by us, my girlfriend went with me to be my support and be my companion. I did get sleeved by Dr. Zavalza, but through Bariatric Pal, and so they allow you to have one companion come with you free of cost, or it's included in the cost, and the companion is able to stay with you at the hospital and at the recovery house after, but we'll get more into detail on that later. So we got to the airport in San Diego, sorry for so many and Roberto, who's one of the Bariatric Pal employees, I think he's a coordinator, I'm not sure, but he wasn't my coordinator. Anna was my coordinator, and she was fabulous. But Roberto picked us up at the airport and drove us across the border. We went directly to the hospital. Once we got to the hospital, there was a little bit of paperwork that needed to be done, and just to back up a little bit about the hospital. So I am very picky, I will say that. And so there were a few points in time where I was just kind of like sketched out, but overall the hospital was, and sketched out is a really bad way to say it, but overall the hospital was really good, really clean. It was, I would liken it to maybe like an older, smaller facility here in the US. It was super small, and it was kind of old, but excuse me, but it was extremely clean. My room, there was the hospital bed, and I really wish I would have taken photos. I don't know why I didn't think to take pictures, but probably because I was freaking out. But anyway, we'll get to that later. So there was the bed on one side, and then they have like a little like a day bed, or yeah, that's what it's more equivalent to, as a day bed for your companion to sleep on. And then there's a chair, there's a TV, so it's basically set up pretty much like a US hospital room, and it has your own bathroom in the room. The bathroom was really nice. It looked like they had recently remodeled the bathroom. It had like nice dark tile and tile shower with 2 shower heads. It was really cute. But yeah, so the hospital itself was, like I said, very clean. When I got there, I didn't feel like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? Excuse my language, but I didn't feel like that. The hospital was very clean. It was just as I expected it to be, kind of outdated. Back to the story. So I got there, got checked into my room, filled out some paperwork, and immediately after, there was a gentleman that came who took my blood and took a urine sample, and also there was an EKG. After the EKG, and before the EKG, I had to change into the hospital gown and all of that. After the EKG, I was just, hanging out in the room. My girlfriend, there's 3 Robertos at Bariatric Pal. So we'll say young Roberto came and offered to, walk my girlfriend to go get something to eat, and she did. I did not expect that while she was gone, like 5 minutes later, they would come to take me to go get surgery. So of course I started bawling because I was not ready. I was already kind of nervous. I was already crying on and off all day, like at the airport, on the plane, I was crying. So I just started crying, and it was terrible. But they took me back to the surgery. When I got to the operating, honest, like they rolled me on a stretcher through the halls, and all I'm seeing is tears and ceiling tiles looking down at me. I was so freaked out. And then I got to the operating room. They're like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "I don't know." So they knocked me out because I was being a weirdo. And then the next thing I knew, I was awake in my hospital room. I do kind of remember some like bits and pieces of things, but yeah, the first thing I actually really do, and by bits of pieces I mean probably like 5 minutes or so before I woke up. But yeah, when I was like fully awake, I was in my room, still kind of coming out of the anesthesia, so still kind of like being crazy or weird and saying weird things. My throat, because of the breathing tube, and still is kind of irritated. It was very dry and it kind of hurted. But the first night I wasn't allowed to have any liquid, any ice, anything. Just had to drink my spit basically. So after, I woke up, at first I wanted to get right up, and the doctor was like, "Okay." And also, to give a little bit of a breakdown of the doctor, sorry, this video scattered, sorry. Dr. Zavalza is a surgeon, but they do have like a general doctor there, Dr. Reyes, and he was the one who I saw day to day. I did also see Dr. Zavalza, but Dr. Reyes was, he came, and when it was time to go, he took my staples out and all of that stuff. So he said, if you feel good to walk, then do it, but just don't try to walk before you don't feel dizzy. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to walk, and this is like maybe 2 hours later after I woke up, if that. And of course I felt so dizzy, and so I literally walked to the door of the room, walked back, and got back in the bed. Then I went to sleep. That's when the gas pain started, and I'm 6 days, today is day 6 post-op, and I still have terrible gas. But that first night I could not even sleep. Like I would sleep for maybe an hour, wake up in pain. Eventually during the night I was able to get up. I got up and pretty much walked the halls the whole night. I was in a lot of pain, but not from like the surgery or from the incisions, but just from the gas. And so that's pretty much how I spent the first night. I was walking. I didn't want to lay back down because it was just painful to be still. Like the only time I felt relief was when I was walking. So that was night 1. The second day, I was still on IV and everything, so it was pretty much the same as the night before, just walking. I felt a little bit better at that point as far as the gas pain, but I'm not one to kind of be laying down in the bed down and out, so I was definitely an active one. So I was constantly walking up and down the hallway. I would come back in the room, maybe sit on the bed for a minute, then get back up. The second morning, I did the second day I did 2 leak tests. So the first leak test was with the x-ray machine, where you drink, it's like a clear, disgusting liquid, and you drink that. And then you go to the x-ray and they can show you, and then you can see like your stomach in the x-ray, and you can kind of see the liquid sitting on it. So that was the first. And then later on that day I had to drink the blue solution, that if it came out through the drain, because I had a drain also, if it came out through the drain, then that was another indication that there was a leak. So I had to do that, and of course, well, not of course, but I didn't have any leaks. But that was pretty much what the second day was. I felt a lot better than the first day. And that night I was able to sleep through the night without having to get up. Now I was on East Coast time, so I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning like, okay, what are we doing? And so from there I'd, kind of walk down the hall. But that third morning is when I got discharged from the hospital. So that morning after I woke up, Dr. Reyes came in, he took out my staples, he put on the stair strips over where the staples were, and he took out my drain, which was disgusting. It was the worst worst and weirdest feeling in the world, but he did take the drain out and dress that up. And then after that, I went to the recovery house. So the recovery house, the person who your main point of contact at the recovery house is Juan, and he lives right next in the condo that I was staying in. He lives right next door to it. And so Juan was awesome. He was really funny. So he's the one who made sure you drank. He made sure you ate. He took us to the store. He made me get Gatorade or Powerade Zero, and I didn't want it, and some drinkable yogurt. He got broth. He got me broth from some restaurant that they have down there that makes the broth specially for them. My hand is hurting, but sorry, where my IV was, you can't really see it because it's not bruised, but it's really sore. But yeah, so the 2 days that we spent in the recovery house, we just did a lot of walking. I walked around Tijuana, got tired, had to take a taxi back because there was no way I was walking back. But it was, you know, all in all, the entire Tijuana experience, was really positive. It was really positive, and I honestly would recommend it to anyone. Dr. Zavalza was awesome, really knowledgeable. He cares a lot about you. He came in to see me several times post-op, and you know, he's like, do you have any questions, any concerns? And I'm like, no, everything has exceeded my expectations. And that's honestly the God honest truth, is that everything I set my expectations, and once I went there and experienced the people, the nurses, the staff, everyone was more than helpful and just, you know, made sure that I was comfortable every step of the way. And so I, you know, would recommend going through Bariatric Pal and also Dr. Zavalza to anyone. But you know, it was amazing. So now today is day 6 post-op. I'm going to be doing a video right after this of my week 1 update. So yeah, I'll just cut this off here and start that video. See you guys later.